founder of RealLifeChanges.com, and I'm here with Cheryl Millette, the director of OWN Canada. And I wanted to discuss with her a little bit more about athletes and how athletes can benefit from omega-3 supplements, basically. So I'm going to push it right over to you, Cheryl, because I know that you're a wealth of knowledge as far as athletes go, because you also did a study with athletes.
Yes, a field study with a group of triathletes.
Right.
And one was even Olympian, once upon a day. Now to keep fit in his, after 60, he does the triathlons. Athletes, we're all athletes, right? But elite athletes, obviously, they're wanting to achieve on one hand, they're wanting to keep in shape on the other hand, and some of them are performing and competing and all that at such degrees that their body needs to be nourished, and they get a lot of inflammation from exercising and from the type of exercising they do. So particularly a mammalian source, because I don't recommend fish oils, is going to help with the inflammation. So what happens is better recovery times, improved strength, right. Mental focus. We know the sport is like a game, it's like a mental game.
Right.
Always there's that component for the elite athletes. Other things would be energy,
right.
Increased
right.
energy.
Mm-hmm.
Some good examples of that is, I'll call him North Pole Ryan, because
right.
North Pole Ryan went to the North Pole, and he started it, and within 2 days he almost doubled the amount of weights he was lifting, and he felt very strong, and it really, really helped him, versus the others that went to the North Pole. He described how it helped, with his circulation,
right.
and that's really valuable.
Especially because from what I remember of the story, this was just prior to him doing the race, meaning about a month or so,
Yeah, I'm going to say about a month.
About a month prior.
Yeah.
So he was really at the top of his game. He was set to go. So it's not like he was just starting the training process to
2
compete.
years.
He was already training for 2 years,
2 years,
a month away from the competition, and he adds this new element in, and he doubles the amount of weight he's able to lift. He's doing wonderful things. I actually have a great video online with an interview with Ryan as well. So you can find out his version of the story, but that's the basics there. So
yeah,
definite wonderful testimonial from Ryan.
It's overwhelming almost. And when I did the field study, what was coming about, and I'll never forget the swimmer saying to me, "I feel one with the water," is his comment. Because I asked them, but one of the things is, how long does it take? And on average, to get the result that they could feel and visibly see, was about 3 days.
Wow.
So we're not talking months, we're not talking, so on an average. Some took a little bit longer, some in a matter of 1 day.
Right.
So the whole energy, with the 20-some-odd triathletes, it was 60% of the athletes felt within, let's say, the average of 3 days, a dramatic increase in energy.
Okay.
That would be kind of the significant stat. Other fun things are, I'm remembering my dreams.
Yes.
Just their mood flexibility.
Right.
There was probably another several different key areas that it benefits athletes. But I think one of the things that we got to think about too is those we might be thinking about, okay, that is to be strong and strengthen the Olympic athletes and all of those, but golfers.
Yes. Golf is a mental game.
It's a mental game, very much so, and I know my husband has extremely benefited from it. It's been probably easier to golf, but he did have a shoulder injury.
Right.
He's a professional drummer, and he absolutely used to feel that used to bother him, that discomfort, and that is gone now.
Right.
So he's happy for that, because
that's wonderful, because a lot of physical benefits, discomforts, pains, I hear going away when you are supplementing with the omega-3 due to the inflammation that's associated with it. However, again, as I mentioned, it is a mental game. We are getting a mental balance from taking this. I mean, I have my sister saying it's her happy medicine. It's affecting those kind of things, focus, clarity with the children. This is also applied into the game that athletes need to, use during their events, whichever one it is. Okay, speaking of elite athletes, what about Zach?
Zachary George. A number of years ago, I'm going to say a few years ago, Zachary George is a martial artist, and he's very good. He's a young was in his 20s. But he decides to compete in a sport, so it's about a year after using the OM sublingual, and then the athlete formula. Well, I'll call it athlete formula. It's not really the athlete formula, but the athletes will love it.
Right.
The Essential D3A. He decides to compete in Thai boxing for the Canadian Championship.
Right.
That's not his sport.
Right.
And he wins. He wins. And I see the fight, and it wasn't that it was a difficult win.
Right.
I'm not an expert in Thai boxing, but he just knew his confidence. He could, as he was saying, I can smell them.
Right.
I'm so much more attuned.
Right.
And it is the brain. It is the brain working. So another great athlete, performing amazingly, in a competition.
When I hear RJ talking about it, it's the key thing was his speed. Like the speed that he had during that match in particular. I mean, he's always been fast with his moves, but it seemed to have taken it to a whole new level when he went into this, and it was quite amazing to watch. So that's an amazing elite athlete, as we could say, I guess. I mean, Canadian Thai box champion, that's pretty elite.
I would say he puts himself through a lot. And he was as a child had ADHD. I think he mentioned this in his video.
Yes.
And so this really helped him on that front. I mean, doing the sport at a young age is very helpful, that sport, particularly for children. And he himself could feel the shift in his brain.
Yeah.
It really helped him focus.
Again, focus, attention, being able to narrow it down again. And we're talking a lot about these elite athletes. However, as we said, we are all athletes. And this is, we've talked about golf and how, this is golfers of all abilities and ranges. And there's so many other, everyday people, myself, when I started taking the D3A, maybe it's not a competition, but I did do the St. Paul's Cathedral, 375 steps without any pain afterward, and I didn't train to do that, and the steps were challenging. Things like that I noticed definitely came when I switched up to the D3A. And my sister-in-law, another example, she's always been very athletic. However, she went through the mom years and the other just life years, and sports kind of started taking a sidetrack, but then she wanted to start again, and I suggested she go on D3A, and it completely changed the way she felt, and she started winning her tennis matches again out of the blue. She was again at the top of her game. But the funny part was when she stopped taking the D3A.
She could see.
This was like the instantaneous difference. And now she's back on it. She didn't like the way it was. She liked the way she felt when she was on it. And again, she is competing again this year. That was last summer that she started the D3A. She stopped for a little while, and then she's back on the tennis courts, and she was taking the D3A again. So this is key, even just for that kind of level of athlete.
Exactly, and there's a lot of people understanding that being active is going to be so valuable to their health. And what happens if your body isn't having the omegas, specifically the omega-3, let's say even a healthy balance, right? Which mammalian has that 1-to-1 ratio, which fish doesn't. Fish is like a square peg in a round hole. So to get this kind of optimum, optimum benefits from the essential fatty acids or the omegas that we need, mammalian is something that it seems to be doing the trick. When we're doing but tennis, so many people I know play tennis and get injuries from it. Why not avoid the injuries? Because like I said, if the aging population is going to be more active because they understand being more active is absolutely going to help, for longevity and optimum health, then, needing the right omegas will help them not have those injuries, not get
and continue to be active. Therefore, it's that cycle is able to continue, right? The health cycle.
One can't do one without the other, something like that.
Right.
But yeah, there's numerous stories of athletes. So whether they're runners, whether they're a lot of inflammation, we know that every ache or pain or disease for that matter has an inflammatory component. Yeah. And if omega-3s help manage the inflammation, then the one you want is the one that's actually going to be like us.
Right.
Be like us. And it's just awesome. I mean, I so love to hear how the athletes are performing, because we have gymnasts, we have various different athletes on it, and from the mental game to the physical side, they're getting across the board, quite significant results.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Cheryl, for helping clarify that. And, start getting active out there and play your game.